Well, and the one thing that I think of is you mentioned the Jay Cutler trade. We could have that kind of trade going on again, as it has been. The deal's kind of a little murky, Mark, where the Broncos and 49ers have agreed on a deal that would send Kaepernick from the Niners to the Broncos. However, as Johnny Manziel would put it, and I'm doing the Money Manziel sign, as you guys can't see that because we're recording a podcast, but it's all about the money. Well, how's the money going to work out? And we're not even going to talk about the trade. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? We're going to jump the gun and go straight to the hard-nosed question, Mark. Who should be the starter for the Denver Broncos this upcoming season? Mark Butt-Fumbling Sanchez or Colin Flexing Kaepernick?
Yeah, I do want to really quickly say, I'm actually on Colin Kaepernick's side on this one. The man doesn't need to take a pay cut. I know he's not going to probably play if he doesn't, but, he earned that money. He got overpaid, but he still earned money.
Joe Flacco doesn't need to take a pay cut, and he's not going to any Super Bowls anytime soon.
Exactly. The man earned it. It's not his fault that the 49ers made a dumb decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest paycheck he's ever going to get. He should cash out. Now, with that being said, to answer the question, it's a tough question. And you kind of, Ricky kind of shows his bias a little bit in the way he asks the question. I look at it this way. You have a man who, at one point in time, led his team to multiple conference championship games. Then on the other side, you have a man who, at one point in time, led his team to multiple conference championship games. So their success has been pretty equal. Of course, Colin Kaepernick did actually make it to a Super Bowl. Mark Sanchez did not. Colin Kaepernick has also done a little bit more on his own than Mark Sanchez has. Mark Sanchez, when he was successful, it was because of great defense and a great run game. Not that there was not a good defense in San Francisco. Obviously, it was a great defense in San Francisco for a long time. But Colin Kaepernick had to kind of be the offense. I look at that and I think, okay, what are the Denver Broncos? They're a team that has a great run game, and they're a team that has a great defense. So which one of these two quarterbacks had that before? Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez was successful in this type of team, and then things fell apart. The team fell apart, not just him. This isn't the situation that Colin Kaepernick was successful. Not that he couldn't be successful in it, but I just kind of have to go back to what do I know? I know that Mark Sanchez did well with this type of team. That's why I'm more inclined to put him in the front. It's still a quarterback battle, no matter what. Whoever wins, wins. But that's why I'm going to put my money on Mark Sanchez, not Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, right now it's hard because I know in the comment section we have had already probably someone make the comment of, you guys are fucking idiots. Colin Kaepernick's not even on the team yet. He's not even on the team at all. What are you guys talking about this for? But I feel like if I had to pick between the two, I'd have to go with Colin Kaepernick. And the reason being is Mark Sanchez is done to me. He is done being a starter in the NFL. And I don't care what anyone else says. Like, oh, Ricky, you didn't have that bad of a career when he was in Philadelphia. Oh, he actually looked good. I don't think that Mark Sanchez has it in him to be a quality starter in the NFL anymore. And I mean, Colin Kaepernick, do I have a ton of, what's the word I'm looking for? A ton of confidence in Kaepernick either? Not really, but I feel like Gary Kubiak might be able to work with Kaepernick better than Mark Sanchez. That's what I feel like.
I don't know why you would come to that conclusion, because Gary Kubiak doesn't work with mobile quarterbacks. He works with guys who just kind of game manage and stay around in the pocket.
Well, not everyone can be Peyton Manning. Not everyone can say, hey, coach, it's okay. You don't have to worry. I can do your job for you. I'll get you a ring, and
But
then I'll leave.
Even Matt Schaub is another one of those guys who just kind of was there. He let the rest of the guys do the work,
Mm-hmm.
and he just kind of chilled. He didn't do too much. So I don't know. The thing about the advantage to having, a guy like Colin Kaepernick, obviously the ceiling is higher with Colin Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
There's more potential for more success, and the things that he can do athletically, he's going to beat Mark Sanchez on those things. But bouncing back for Mark Sanchez is going to be a lot easier than bouncing back for Colin Kaepernick, who just had a terrible season and got benched for Blaine Gabbert. What happened to Mark Sanchez? He wasn't the starter. He was a backup. He came up, and he got his opportunity and did fairly well. And now has earned himself, a chance to really compete for the starting job.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the up. Colin Kaepernick's on the decline, is what you just see from last year. So, that type of thing is interesting to me. It's still interesting to me that when you think about the psyche of the player, Colin Kaepernick is still in an embattled situation. He's still coming in. He's going to come into this organization and onto this team after giving them hell over this trade. It's just, to me, it just is not a good way for a guy who's already had trouble with the organization that he's with now. It's not the way you want to start with a new organization already giving them trouble.
Yeah, to me, and here's the big thing. Here's a huge red flag. Like, there's red flags with both these players. Let's be honest. There's no easy answer to this question. Because with Mark Sanchez, I look at it, and has he had, except for last season where he only played 4 games because he was a backup, has he had over 2,000 passing yards in a season? Yes. However, the thing I do not like about Mark Sanchez's stat lines is his interception numbers. 12 touchdowns to 20 INTs, 17 to 13, 26 to 18, which was his best year, 13 to 18, and 14 to 11 before 4-4 of last year. However, Colin Kaepernick on the other side only played 9 games last year. Like you said, Mark, he is that dual threat, so maybe he's not going to work that well with Kubiak. But to me, I just think that out of the upside of these two players, Kaepernick is more of the athletic of the two. And with me, I would go with that. And plus, when Kaepernick's been good, like I look at 2013, 21 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. The thing that's going to be Mark Sanchez's Achilles heel if he wins the starting job in Denver is his turnover numbers. And I know what you may say, but Ricky, it won't matter because his defense that he'll now have in Denver will cancel it out. I don't know if that's really going to matter because, if you turn the ball over, you're giving offenses more chances with the ball, and the more your defense is on the field, they are going to be tired. And if this Broncos defense is on the field so much, are they going to continue to play at that level that we saw all of last season, especially in the Super Bowl?
Well, it worked for Peyton Manning. I don't see why it wouldn't work for Mark Sanchez. Peyton Manning threw the most interceptions he's ever thrown. Peyton Manning was just playing bad last year, and it worked out just fine. They won a Super Bowl. Obviously, Brock Osweiler came in for a little bit, but he wasn't amazing. Obviously, Mark Sanchez needs to work on the interceptions. But I think the team just overall being better and the run game existing now is going to help him out. I definitely think there's an upside to Colin Kaepernick, but I think we have to remember, too, neither one of these guys are going to be John Elway's guys. Mm-hmm. And neither one of these guys are anything more than a stopgap for when they find the real quarterback that they're going to find in probably a year or two. These are both just guys who are filling in for now. So I don't know how much the upside matters to John Elway right now.
Well, and here's the one thing I want to say, and this is kind of to combat your well it worked out for Peyton Manning. If I'm looking through the games that he played, and if I just went straight down the list really quick, game number 1, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Team only won 19-13 against Baltimore. 3-1, big win over the Chiefs. 2-1, a big win over the Detroit Lions. 1 touchdown to 2 INTs in that game where they should have lost to my Vikings, but pulled out a 3-point win. 0 touchdowns, 2 INTs in a 6-point win over Oakland. In the overtime win to Cleveland, 1-3 touchdown to INT. He had 0-4 in the loss against KC. But then when you look at his playoff performances, how many interceptions did he have throughout the entire playoffs? 1 interception. And to me, I mean, that's where you can say, but Ricky, they were playing their hottest football at that time. This defense isn't going to look like they did in the postseason if Mark Sanchez is giving the ball away. And the way I see it is like you said, when you were like, this is the kind of stopgap holder. This is like Tim Tebow, except John Elway doesn't hate Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. He kind of reluctantly allowed Tim Tebow to keep playing because Tim Tebow wouldn't mess it up enough.
He didn't like Tim Tebow. And then John Elway was on the side of many Bears fans, Mark, when you guys were like, why did Marion the Barbarian run out of bounds? Why did he run out of bounds? Or
just lose games, Tim.
Or holy shit, he just beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Does anything not good happen to this guy? I mean, that's the way I see this. This is the Tim Tebow kind of just placeholder to, are we going to get a good quarterback now post Peyton Manning? And this really, to me, begs to ask the question, and we're not going to see the answer until a few years to me. Was Peyton Manning worth it? Because this is what you get. Yeah, you got a Super Bowl, but Peyton Manning only played, what was it, 3 or 4 years in Denver? Now he's gone, and in the process, you pissed off the one quarterback you drafted to be his successor. It would be like if Brett Favre played out through Aaron Rodgers' contract, and A-Rod said, fuck you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it. And because anytime a Super Bowl is going to be worth it, the amount of revenue that brings in, the amount of fame that brings the coaches, the players, the team in general, it's always going to be worth it, even if you just get one. To bring it back to, of course, the home love team, the Chicago Bears, we talk about how amazing the '85 Bears was. We rarely ever talk about how things just fell apart completely afterwards. Because we don't worry about that. We just worry about the fact that the team won a Super Bowl. That's how most teams are. They just care about the fact that they won that one. That's really what matters. Because there's still, Ricky, you know this. You know this better than most. There's still teams out there that can't even manage to do that. It's definitely worth it. And to have Peyton Manning there to break all kinds of records while on your team, wearing your jerseys. I mean, how many Peyton Manning Broncos jerseys were sold over his span on the team?
Probably
huge,
a lot.
Obviously. Yeah, it's huge.
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, Mark. I wish I did.
You should look it up. It's huge. It's definitely worth it. His time there was worth it. Did it kind of mess things up with Brock Osweiler? Possibly, but I still am not convinced that that's the worst thing in the world. But also, with Brock Osweiler, if they drafted him and they didn't have Peyton Manning come around to help the team out for a while, he's probably going to be actually starting a lot earlier and not having the opportunity to kind of sit, develop his game, and learn from just watching Peyton Manning. He's going to have to go in at the beginning, and it's not going to end well in that case.